Morning guys, welcome back to NZ Marko Outlaw Kustoms. Mostly finally caught back up on videos again. So anyway, today it looks like the diff, the drive shaft and everything is all back. I didn't quite expect everything back, but that's absolutely fucking awesome. Because that's going to give me something to go on with. Because again, no steel. This local supplies here run out of that size and they're waiting for more stock to come down from the main supplier in the South Island. So hopefully that might be here this afternoon. By the time it obviously comes down, they unload it and then they get it out in the freight to here. So hopefully I might have that this afternoon. And because that steel was there, I completely forgot about it, some brass. So I will carry on with obviously a few other little bits and pieces, and we'll have a look at this diff and drive shaft and whatever and see what's made there and how I've got to put it back together, I guess. So we'll go have a look at that. Also, not that I really want to, I don't normally give big shout outs to other massive channels, really, like automotive channels, but freaking go watch that latest video from Cletus McFarlane, or Garrett Mitchell, whatever his freaking real name is, when they did that, I think it's the Y2K freaking drag thing, the final day. Freaking a 6.6549 second pass or whatever it was. At 221. Fuck, that is moving. Yeah, like they really basically, I think earlier on in that car, they might have just broke a 6, something like that, and they've gone into over 200 miles an hour there a wee while ago, but they've struggled to get back into there, and then the last couple of days they've broken right back into the mid-6s basically. It's absolutely awesome. Righty, so this is what we've had made up. There's 2 of these, obviously one for the diff as well. So they're machined up. They basically took the bits off the end, spun them up and trued them up and made sure it was all dead straight and whatever. Apparently the one off the diff was actually slightly bent. So yeah, then they made the adapter to bolt the drive shaft through, and it's got threads in it obviously. And these are all being balanced. So it's got 2 dots on there, and it's got, where are we? 2 dots on here somewhere to line it up. It's being balanced. Where's it going? Oh yeah, there it is. So you've got 2 dots in there for where this meets up with that. So that's the place it's meant to be, so it's perfectly balanced, obviously. And then this is what we've had made up for a drive shaft. And I will also have to, unfortunately, pull the diff apart and reset everything because they've had the other end out of the diff, the drive off it to obviously machine it all up and whatever. You now have to go through and reset all the gears up, so it's a bit of a pain in the butt, but I kind of half expected that. But that's fine. So yeah, now I can start getting that together. So we're just going away to get some hardware to put this together with. Actually, 40 might have supplied all that. And I put it all together and gave us all the hardware. But that's all right. We'll just have to go get it. So I'm going to jack the back of the car back up because obviously I'm going to have to put this back on the gearbox and then sort that out. You go from there, I guess. Get the seal in the back of the box and all that other stuff. So we'll go from there. Well, actually, the first thing I'm going to do, haven't made a seal for the back of that box yet because we didn't freaking done anything, if you know what I mean. Because we didn't put it in there. So let's see how I quick measure. So it's at 47. 47 in there. We'll see if we can have a measure in the back of the box. And we'll just because the owner is just going to go get some hardware while I muck around here with this stuff. So I might as well seal the back of the box while he's there getting some hardware. Here's your up. And then throw it in. And it's back hopefully. Well, plan B. End of the box is, mate. Plan B. Plan B. Plan B. Thank God for spare parts, eh? End of the gearbox. So, I want the seal to be. $63. 47 was 63. $63 and a half-ish. $47 and a half. Right, I'll make a quick phone call. Right, so hopefully they got one of ours. I just made the phone call so they're looking, so it's cool. So what I'll do, I'll jack the back of the car back up, lift it back up in the air a few inches so it's a bit easier to work underneath. And I might as well set the, yeah, I've still got to pull the different part anyway. I've got to get the crown one and everything back out. It's a fucking pain in the ass I can do that, but that's what it is, because I've got to set the pinion first and then set the fucking backlash again. Hopefully, if I actually mark where it is now, hopefully I can get it, it'll be close. So yeah, I'll jack it up and then I'll start pulling that apart and hopefully, because he's got the other flange for the back of the diff, so we'll do all that. Righty, so might as well pull this shit back out of here. It's actually a bit of a pain in the butt. It's not really his fault, I guess, but the nut and bolt that goes through the back of here, like, there's a bit of a crappy one that I grabbed from upstairs. It goes through here on this other old one. It's got a washer in there, right, that locks this piece to this piece and the slots. And the guy thought that it wasn't right, that it was just a normal old washer. He thought it was some sort of special thing and he threw it away, which is a fucking pain in the ass because that's just what it was. You know, I pulled three of them apart. I had a fairly good idea. Yeah, and unfortunately he threw that fucking washer away, so now I'm going to have to dig through the stuff and find another one and put it in it. I can pull this one out if I need to, but yeah, he thought it must have been like meant to be one of those D washers, and he said, yeah, it's not right, fucking, and threw it away. And told the owner, but it's just fucking what they used, you know what I mean? So sometimes unless you pulled three apart, you just better have to fucking shut your mouth. Or at least give it back, you know, in case that's what was meant to be done. It doesn't really matter, but it's just, you know, when it was already there, and that's what was there. Like this was the third one I pulled apart. Like I pulled apart two before this, and this is wouldn't say it's a mixture of all three, but it kind of is. You know, there's parts from the first one and the third one and whatever. And so we end up with one really good diff head, but pain in the ass that, you know, they fucking, they just assumed it was wrong. See if we can get it out of that. I'd probably just use any old washer, but guarantee that one there will probably be hardened or something. Because I can't find any others that are still on the box, if you know what I mean. So I'll see if I can get this fucking thing out. Pain in the ass. Righty, so I've got this back in here. Got the washer out of that other thing. It's just very slightly off-centered. Just normal round washer. Why the fucking guy threw it away, pain in the ass, because it's the only one I've got. I'd probably get a hunt and find another one, but oh no, I wish sometimes it just, even though that people think they probably know better, you know, like I don't know how many frickin' 1925 Studebaker diff heads he worked on, but like I've had 3 apart, so I'm sure I know something. You know, like, okay, yeah, sure, it probably could quite easily be like a little D washer, but you know, it's to get a nice. This will be nice and hard too. Whereas a lot of the other washers you find that are probably about that sort of size, or whatever, they're probably just mild steel. You know, so like, yeah, it's not bent or anything. So like, why change it if it's in there and it's fine, you know, like, and throw it away and say, oh, you know, it should be this shape and it should be that and it should be this, and it's like, well, just fucking leave it alone, you know? It was in there, leave the fucking thing alone. So, yeah, you know, we'll at least give it back in case it is the right thing, you know, don't fucking just throw it away and go, oh no, that's not the right thing, you gotta have something else in there, and then make me look for another one. But anyway, lucky I had some more parts here. But this nut, I just, because this was another made nut here, because we had that pinion problem, and they fixed the end of this. But yeah, I just can't quite get a split pin through there to lock that up. So I'm gonna put a bit of marker on the back of it, and then I'm going to run it on the belt sander and just try and take a little bit more off it, and do that a couple of times, just keep putting the marker on there so I know that it's square, if you know what I mean, still. Yeah, where's that frickin' hole? Yeah, barely see the end of it. The other thing I could do too would be, I could just run the grinder in there a little bit deeper. I'm going to run the grinder through it, but through the bolt hole, I just don't think it's going to, good enough. No, know what I mean? Yeah. So I think we'll take a bit off the back of it, just so it fits better. And then I can set the play and the diff head, and then we'll go from there. Right, so I'm just slotting this back together. I just pretty much picked it up where it was, everything was sitting before. So I haven't really moved any of the lock nuts or anything like that, so hopefully we're not a million miles away. I said it'd take a phone call, so I was just kind of puddling away with this while I was on the phone call. Righty, I haven't done much of an update today. Been fighting with that friggin' dip head all day. Had it to the engineers twice. Three times. Something like that anyway. I took it around to Dad's and we played with it and whatever. And we finally come to the conclusion that it was the run out was in the crown wheel ring gear, whatever you want to call it. So took it round to the engineers, put a dial indicator on it because we don't have one. And it had 19 thou run out, or what was it, 0.55 of a mil? Yeah, 0.55 of a mil, yeah. So basically it had half a mil run out, or 19 thou thereabouts, 19, 20 thou. So took it back, stripped it apart, took it back around there and put the centre in without the crown wheel, put that back in, set the bearings up so it was no play in it, took it back around there and run it on the inside face. So I run it on this face, this is another one, run it on this face and it was about half out. I thought, oh, maybe if we 180 the gear, put it back in, the difference between the two might true it up or come close to being within, because the mesh needs to be somewhere between 5 to 15 thou is the maximum. In fact, 5 is the minimum when it was new, 15 is the maximum when it's obviously been worn in. I had it at about 7 originally, and I don't know whether I just didn't pick up that it was tight in one spot. I don't know, I can't work it out, it's weird, because I run it around several times and checked it in a few spots to make sure, we're within spec, and it seemed to be fine, but whether it wasn't right, and I just didn't pick it up, but and it was reasonable where I measured it, you know what I mean? Didn't pick up a tight spot in it. So what we're going to do, because what happened was we just let the crown wheel ring gear go, let all the bolts just loose, just slowly back each one off, and you can see that the gears actually started straightening up. It pulled away from here, so we just started backing them all off after we turned it in 180, but we started backing them all off. It was no better, 180, it was actually slightly worse. So we slowly started backing all the bolts off, and you could see that it was pulling away and trying to straighten up. So what we think is, because obviously the gear is out here, well, in here, that 3 and a bit, or 0.3 of a millimeter, or about 10 thou, grows into 20 when it's out here. Obviously, and then when the ring gear is obviously being pulled out of square on this surface for some reason. So I'm going to strip this gear off here, or bearing off here, and bearing off here, and then we're going to clean this up, reassemble it with this center. Well, obviously not that gear, but with this center, clean all this up, and then reassemble it and see if this is any truer. See if this center's truer, and maybe it might solve that problem without having to get shit machined. That gear was originally on that center, so this was the first one I cleaned up, I think. So we'll put it on this one and see. You can only try, so yeah, unfortunately I didn't have it put it back together, but it is witness marked for where it's meant to go together, I think. So I've got a yeah. So these have got a, sorry, I've got the freaking lights on, but you can see there's like a little, where is it? there, a little nick mark for where these line up, the two sides that line up, if you do have it patterned, have it apart. So I'll push these bearings off. I'll give it a bit of a clean up. We'll take a couple of cans of brake clean around the dad's and we'll strip it all apart. I may have to bring the other pieces. I'm waiting at him to bring it all back around here anyway. And put these bearings, swap the bearings over if we can get them off. Okay, put them on here, set this centre up, see if it runs true, and if it runs true, we'll put that gear back on this and check it again and see if it's say like a couple of foul out, that'll be fine. You know, we can live with that. That'll just mean there's after it's been doing a wee bit of running, probably that tight spot will open up a little bit. So if we can get it to, I don't know, somewhere in a happy medium, say somewhere between 7 to 10 in the tight, 7 in the tightest spot and 10 in the the loosest spot, that'll be fine. It'll be within tolerance. Yeah, at the moment it's fucking miles off. Putting it plainly. So I'll see if we can get this fucking apart. Right, let's put the bearings off there. We can start cleaning these up and see where we go.
5 minutes later.
Right, morning everybody. I'm not having much luck lately. Freaking computer's freaking just crapped itself. I've actually just put a little clip up on YouTube to say that it might be a few days before I get anything up. But yeah, I don't know, it's just weird. So I'm hoping, if it is dead, something is dead, I'm hoping it's the CPU, because I want to get the faster one. But yeah, I don't know what's gone wrong. So yeah, it might take a few days to work out, and obviously the cost of getting replacement parts. Yeah, because I originally built it in 2018, I think. Yeah, when those Ryzen, the second generation, or I suppose the first generation refresh came out. So yeah, I don't know what's died, but something's died. Something's gone wrong anyway. We'll find out probably later on today. Anyway, so I've got the bearings pressed back on the other carrier. So I'm about to load this back in and see how we go from there. Well, we got it sorted. Right, turn some lights on. Righty, so yeah, it's put a dial gauge on here and it barely moves. Well, it moves a little bit. It's less than, I don't know, it's less than 0.1 of a millimetre in and out now on the back face anyway. So it's like a couple of, well, maybe maybe 3 or 4 thou if that, right out. Like on the little dial gauge, it barely moved, like it was just fluctuating a little bit each side of it, if you know what I mean. So we should be good. So now I can put all the pins back through these bolts, or nuts, what do you want to call them. Put all these back through now. Tightened all these up. I've just I've got to shave the a little bit off it, you know what I mean? Off the back of the nut and just re-tension it. Right, so I've pulled the axles, undone the nuts and pulled the axles out. That's why I've never done anything up fully. As you see, I've got to put the seal in there still. I think that's because I damaged one. Yeah, so I've got that other seal to put in there. But so this will be ready for the dip head after lunch. I've cleaned the, because I taped the diff housing up when I painted it, and I left it closed up when we had it in there because I just didn't want to get in full of shit. So I've given it a quick blowout. I might just get in there with a rag and whatever and a bit of brake clean, just give the inside of that main part of the housing a bit of a wipe out again just in case after lunch, and then we'll slip the dip head in there and bolt it up and whatever, obviously seal it up and whatever. So yeah, we should be good, hopefully. So I've got all the bolts down there ready to go. I will Loctite these because just because of the fucking Allen heads. That's not what I would have went with, but it's probably not a bad idea because I don't know how much. You probably would have got a span in there, okay. They're tightish, and I'm just not quite sure why I did that, but you know what I mean. I didn't pick the bolts. And then we will proceed to do the other end and get all this on. Get all the handbrake, at least the handbrake part of it set up. Obviously we're not going to have the cable on there, so yeah, but at least I can get that on there. I actually think there's a bracket I've got to put on there as well, to hold the cable sides of it. So I need to double check that and figure out, remember where all that went. I'll just check some PDFs, or even actually, this my book. This shows that in there. Where are we? Kind of shows it. It's that bracket there, I think. I got better pictures somewhere else. Might be on the PDFs, which unfortunately are on my phone. I really need to. It's the clutch. Handbrake. Is it handbrake? Yeah, handbrake. Yeah, so there's a the bracket doesn't show you on here. It's for the cable to come across. Yeah, pretty sure it's on the PDFs. Doesn't matter anyway. Worst comes to worst. That car's got the floor out of it, so I'll jump up there and have a quick look. Ah, there. These. So this bit is for the cable to come through. I think it bolts. Does it bolt on? No, it must bolt on the back of the box somewhere. Bolts on there somewhere. Bolts on there somewhere. So it's like I'm trying to remember. Doesn't matter anyway. We'll get it on there. Bolts on with that shit anyway, and yeah, pulls the cable. But anyway, we'll see you after lunch. Righty, just having a wee think to myself. Which way up this goes? Because it looks to me that all the bolt holes are all even. They may not be. It may only go one way, as in bolt holes. Not sure on that, but I think this will go to the top, the lock. I think that makes the most sense to me. So, but I'm just going to double check, just so I'm not freaking getting it in there and then fighting with something and realising it's up the frickin' wrong way. So yeah, I'm just going to check the video of the car that I went to in Queenstown, because there's a couple of times I was underneath it, and I'm just going to have a quick look at that video just to see, because this has never been in. And I do remember pulling apart those other diffs, but I just can't remember to get the dip heads out of that other one, because the one that's down there, the one, no, that's the case from the other one. Doesn't matter anyway, but I think that's the one that housing is the one out of that one. That's the one we got from up north, I think, where's the other one down here? Is it down here? I think still. The housing. Yeah. And that's the one that was originally cleaned up for the car. So I've now get the centre carrier out of that. The gears out of that one. Out of the third one. And I think I've got the pinion carrier out of that. Because it was in better condition. So yeah. So yeah, I just want to make sure that when I climb underneath there and I wrestle the frickin' thing, I haven't got it upside down. So yeah, we'll just double check that. You're right. So yeah, I've just done some double checking just to make sure we did have everything around the right way. So this definitely goes to the top. Crown wheel's definitely on the right side. Just double making sure. So obviously the rotation of the motor is that way, right? Then, you know, if it spins this way, if it spins that way, it's not going to blow any air. So it obviously goes that way because it pushes air through, sucks air through the radiator. So I'm assuming the engine turns that way. I don't 100% know. I'm assuming that would be normal. So if the gearbox engine rotation is that way, because I can't imagine it's going to reverse the drive pattern for obviously first, second, and third. There's no fourth, so obviously that's turning that way. So this is obviously turns this way for forward. So crown wheel's going the right direction. So if the axle's turning that way, means the wheel's pushing it on the road, and it's rotating along the road. Because if the crown wheel's on the other way, because it can easily go on the other side, it's symmetrical. You can actually put this in backwards. And even on the housing, you could put it in backwards. So yeah, I was just double checking to make sure we didn't have anything backwards. So we are good to go. So I'm just going to get underneath there, just doubly check, make sure the surface of that is clean. On the face, I've just got one of my little acrylic blocks with a bit of sandpaper on it. I'm just going to give the housing a bit of a spray, rub that on it, give it a clean, give it everything a wipe down, spray down, blow down, apply some sealer, obviously put the dip head, got a piece of cardboard around the side, get it underneath there so I can slide it in without dragging it across the ground per se, if you know what I mean, so I can get myself in position, put my sealer on. I've got more bolts down there, so any other thing I've got to get down there is a socket and ratchet and whatever. Right, so right, now you can see a bit closer. So, that's through there. Don't need to lock it once it's in place. There, clean it up, and then put a split pling, coil pling, what do you want to call it, in there. That sort of bring that up tight. Okay, so if you're wondering why, in that last clip, that I undid the bolt and took the thing out and whatever, it's because I've done the nut up by hand, or with the thing, without that bolt in there, and got it feeling good. So basically the shaft turned nice and free, but wasn't loose like backwards and forwards in the bearing or anything. But as soon as I put that bolt through with the lock, so the nut couldn't undo, and cranked it up and pulled it up tight to put the pin in, it was way over tight. It was way too tight. So I had to keep, I backed it back, I think 2 sides or whatever it was. So yeah, and it actually felt loose. I actually had a little bit of in and out on that bearing. It was weird, because every time I backed it back one, done that up, it still felt like it was quite heavy to turn. But that one feels good, but yeah, it felt loose until I pulled that bolt up, and it's almost like it, when you pull the bolt up, it's actually like forces the cone in or something. Kind of weird, don't know. I just hope it doesn't, once it's done a few miles, become loose again. May have to do 50 miles or 100 miles in this thing when we actually get everything buttoned up and working properly. And obviously sorted out for the road, as in legally, and do a few miles in it, and then probably have to pull all the wheels off and recheck all the bearings, make sure everything's still tight. Obviously, as long as there's no leaks and all that sort of stuff in the before then. But yeah, I just almost like it needs to do a few miles and then just pull it in like a side of that nut or something like that, and then button it back up again. Yeah, don't know. It's kind of weird. I didn't expect it to put all that extra pressure on when I pulled that bolt up, but it is what it is. So we'll get the other seal in the nut and and we'll get the other side buttoned up. Right, seals in there, 2-inch socket, almost perfect. 2-inch, 3/4, yeah, 3/4 drive, was an inch. So yeah, perfect for pushing the seal on this Studebaker thing. So yeah, we'll throw that on there now, and button that up, and yeah, then we're basically, that's good for oil, hopefully. So we'll work on the gearbox in a minute. We'll get the seal in the back of that, and go from there, I guess. Right, so I've bolted this together, the handbrake drum and this, I've put that together. Hopefully that doesn't foul anything. I'm hoping it doesn't. It shouldn't do, because it's originally had bolts through there. So yeah, we'll get that seal in the box now. I found a, looks like it should be fine. I found a socket to put that in. That piece there, the shit, those nuts. That piece there is actually meant to be in between here. I didn't realise it's actually meant to be like the like this piece here. It does the same job on the handbrake, so it bolts on down there. Righty, so just to wrap this video up, I think, finished putting the dry shaft on last night, and I was going to sort of do a bit of an ending video, but ended up with a few people here looking at dry shaft and whatever. So I only had like about 20 mils. I thought at the time when I was underneath there it might have been about an inch or slightly more when we had a decent measure up. It's about 20 mils. Or slightly over 3/4 of an inch play. So we messaged the guy that built the dry shaft. A couple of us jumped in the back of here and sort of jumped up and down a bit. Didn't appear to move much, but we were just worried that maybe if, okay, full tank, a full tank of fuel, you know, maybe a couple of, well, either a couple of people in the back, you know, obviously a couple of people in the front and a bit of gear, or maybe got a lot of stuff in the back if he does happen to do maybe the Paris to Peking or something like that. Maybe 20 mils mightn't have been quite enough movement in the dry shaft if it did happen to go over a big bump or happen to have to do a bit of a flex somewhere. You know, like a lot of these old things did way back in the old dirt roads and stuff like that, you know, they did quite a bit of flexing. to get over some of the rough terrain that they had, and I thought, well, maybe the Paris to Peking might be like that in the old place. Not likely to be doing that here, just on the normal average tar seal road, unless you happen to be going into a field or something like that, or somewhere where it could have been a bit uneven going across some areas. But we're just a bit worried about if they had people wait in the back, for some reason that it might be enough. But the guy that made the dry shaft, that's made a lot of them, he said he works on 20 mils is what it needs to be for most of this sort of stuff, unless it happens to be a really oddball flex or something like that, or just the way the back end's set up. But he said 20 mils should be fine. He said that's pretty much perfect. So that's cool. We're happy with that. We thought it might have been needed a little bit more, you know, maybe another ½ an inch or so. It might have been a bit more comfortable, but if he says 20 mils is fine, 20 mils is fine. He's been doing it for a long time, so I'm sure he knows. He actually built, the guy that did the dry shaft actually built the cars, the bikes that run on Bonneville for the World's Fastest Indian movie, the ones in the speed shell. They were Ducatis, basically, inside the speed shells, if you don't know that. So yeah, the bike that was made, that he ran on the beach and all that sort of stuff, and you can see outside the body, yeah, that was a replica of the Indian, and it was built by somebody else here in New Zealand, and the guy that built the ones that were in the speed shell, that did the speed runs at Bonneville and stuff like that, were Ducatis. They built like two bikes, and then they had another one that had no guts in it, so Anthony Hopkins could get in the shell, because it was very tight in there. Very tight in there. It wasn't really designed for it was designed for quite a very slim person, whereas old Barrett wasn't a big guy. Like I don't know what sort of height he was, but he wasn't a terribly broad statured fella. Like it was pretty tight for him. But Anthony Hopkins could get in it all right. But I think just they tried to get him in there with one of the Ducatis, but it was too tight. So they basically just had an empty shell with a bike frame in it with a bit more room, so he could get himself in. So yeah, but yeah, he built those. So anyway, so he's quite a clever fella. So yeah, that's good now. So I'm going to go through and finish putting the handbrake on, put the rest of the bolts in, now that we know that's right, and it should be fine. So yeah, so that's the end of this video. So thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe and all that sort of stuff. Like we've said a million times before, most of us that make these videos, doesn't cost you anything to make a YouTube profile, doesn't cost you anything to subscribe, doesn't cost you anything to comment, doesn't cost you anything to give us a thumbs up, but we greatly appreciate it. Would be absolutely awesome. Thanks for all the new subs recently. We're 1,100 and something now, which is really wicked. Watch hours going up. Another car show video should be coming up this weekend. I did mention yesterday that I was having computer problems. Got that sorted. I'm not sure if when I go through the editing, whether I will miss that out or not. I'm not sure. I'll find out when I go through it. I haven't finished editing the last 2 days footage because I didn't really edit it yesterday morning, so I'm trying to catch up again. So yeah, but yeah, thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one, which will be about 2 seconds away from me. Cheers guys, thanks.